Okay. Okay, it's very musical. There's a lot of tonality in that. I like it. Okay, and everybody, by the way, has to try this. Don't leave people out hanging out to dry. You should all try this, okay? And try to use your diaphragm, as my music teacher used to tell me. Okay. That's nice. That was a good effort. That was very good. Very nice.
The second time had
Other owl that's really easy is the great horned owl, and his is just a hoot. Okay, so he's basically he doesn't do the music. It's not quite as musical, but it's nice.
Is it a certain number?
No. No, and it's not like a regular sound. The great gray has more of a hoo 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 hoo. That's a great gray, but a great horned owl is that hoo 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 hoo. Better? See, there's a subtle difference, and the great gray has a much lower. It's a lower note, and it's more regular. Okay, the screech owl, which we should. These little guys, when the problem with when they hoot in the same territory as the great horned owl is that there's a potential for them becoming dinner. So because they're much smaller, so the eastern screech owl doesn't actually sound like the western screech owl, which I thought was kind of, I lived out west for a while, and I was kind of surprised when I first heard the western screech owl. It's more like a po 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 sound, just a po 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 po. But the screech owl is a trill. They trill, and they're a little bit more talky. Okay, here we go. It's a little, there's a...
So you're doing that with your tongue?
Yes. Have to do that with my, yes. You use what you can. But yeah, it's a trill. And so, but the good thing is that when you call, then the great horned owl might show up looking for dinner. Yeah, so that's kind of nice too. Okay. So and it's the only problem with tonight is that it's very windy. And birds, generally speaking, don't like wind. But you'll notice if any of you have bird feeders that they just tend not to like it too much. Rain doesn't seem to bother them too much, but wind, for some reason, I don't know if it's because they don't navigate as well in the wind, but I know they're not as active when it's really windy. So I'm hoping that with the shelter of the trees that it won't matter that much. And it's not as bad as it was earlier in the day, for sure. Okay, let's go a little bit out this way. And we're going to try one more thing too, but we'll get a little bit further out here.
Didn't know geese call so much at night.
Well, they do if something's bothering them. So something's bugging them. And I heard dogs. Yeah. I thought I heard two different dogs, actually. And the geese. Lots of wind. Now imagine if you were an owl and you were listening to all that. Owls' ears are actually set in. I mean, they don't have like ear lobes that actually help them hear. They have ear discs. They're just holes in their head, basically. But they can still hear better than we can. So they're hearing all of that.
Do they stay here all winter, or do they migrate south?
Some of them migrate south, but yeah, we usually have residents here. The ones that I mentioned are resident birds. It's just that this is their time of the year to pair up. And so it usually makes them call a little bit more. They're kind of showing off a little bit, and They want to make sure that they know where each other are as far as their nest location goes. Like I said, they don't usually have, they start rearing young usually in late January. So that also makes it a little bit interesting because then you hear the young, and the young are just a totally different, it's a screech fest and a squawk fest, and it's fun if you've got some nearby. Where I lived in,
Sleep and they're outside your window.
yes, there's that too. I've had that, yeah. It was a little spooky. I had, you know, I'm Irish, and you hear an owl outside your window, it's not a good thing. Gives you the creeps. If you listen to your Irish grandparents, not a good thing. But actually it is pretty cool. But that's the time of, this is the time of the year when they're basically just would be locating each other. They're keeping in touch. Okay, so we can walk a little bit further. We've got tons of time, so might as well. Fairly new for this area. We haven't had a high population in a while, and so they're coming back. The same is happening with Ohio too, so it is pretty nice that the bald eagle populations are coming back up. So at this time of year, you're much more likely to see an eagle. Ospreys usually leave around October, but the platform is there just in case anybody's interested. I mean, both the osprey and anybody who wants to see an osprey. The platform is, it's basically a marshy area that's off from the lake. I mean, it's wetland, but it's a marshy wetland. It's grassy. So it's right above, it's kind of a low platform, and it's right out into the marsh.